Hey everyone, you're playing a fantasy campaign, but the players are so used to the things in the Savage Pathfinder bestiary or in the Fantasy Companion, and you want to do something interesting, different, throw something with different flavor at them. Easy to do because one of the cool things about Savage Worlds is you can go to other settings, grab creatures, bring them in. They're going to be relatively well balanced, and if they don't have too much flavor of the setting, take them and run with them. So I want to talk about some things that we can steal from Deadlands for our fantasy.
Savage World, one of the best games today.
Hey everyone, it's Carl with Tabletop Tango. Look at the bubbles, do the stuff. I'd love some subscriptions because I'm looking to get to a milestone so I can do a live stream. So please subscribe and do all that cool stuff. Any support we get also gets put right into the channel to support it because that's what you're supporting by supporting us. So anyway, what do I want to talk about today? Well, what I want to talk about is cool creatures that we can steal from Deadlands to use in our fantasy campaign that brings some more flavor. Players probably haven't encountered them. They're jaded on the Fantasy Companion or the things they find in the Savage Pathfinder bestiary. So why not? Let's throw some different stuff at. So the first thing I want to talk about is the Burning Dead. The Burning Dead are charged skeletal bodies wreathed in auras of crackling flame. They shriek in constant agony as their flesh melts away. Cool flavor, really makes something interesting for the players when they run into it, when they're used to just the plain old zombies and skeletons and stuff like that. It's a pretty standard creature as far as toughness and parry. It's got a parry of 5, toughness of 9, so it's not going to be a super tough opponent one-on-one, so you obviously want to bring in hordes of these things. Now, what makes them really cool and I think adds a lot of flavor is their special abilities. So the first one is Burning Touch. Every attack that hits, whether it causes damage or not, has a chance to set the victim on fire with a 5 to 6 on a d6. And then you do fire damage like standard Savage Worlds. Now, come on, that's cool. If you've got players that have high toughness and you're going against hordes of these, as long as these things can hit their parry, there's a chance of doing some damage to the player or causing some havoc. Players aren't going to expect it. It's going to be kind of cool. I think adds a lot of interest. They also have Infection. The character is shaken or wounded by Burning Dead must make a Vigor roll at -2 or contract Ghost Fever. Now, that's totally flavor of Deadlands. It's not probably in your campaign, but you can treat that as a chronic disease, or you could do it as an energy drain or something like that, similar to what you might have in some of the other undead in like Savage Pathfinder and that sort of thing. But kind of cool. I love the Burning Touch. I think it's something that makes a lot of interest. The second one I want to talk about is the Rattler, which is a wild card, and it's kind of somewhat related to maybe that same vibe that the Purple Worm has. But what makes it cool is it's a gigantic creature that also goes below the desert, pops up this thing. But what makes it super interesting is, first off, it's super tough. It's got a parry of 6 and a toughness of 24. Now, that takes a lot to get over. I mean, even with some explosions, that's a tough nut to crack. They can burrow like super fast and move around the battlefield. They have 20-inch burrows, so they can really cause some issues for the players. They're gargantuan, size 12, so all the things that go along with having a large creature like that, and the things they can do like slamming and stuff like that. So yeah, slam is one of the things they have. They can crush prey beneath their massive bodies. You place a cone template to represent the portion of the creature's body used to crush. Everything within must beat the worm in an opposed athletics versus agility. So just like the Purple Worm, they got the same thing. But now here's where the coolness comes in. They've got tentacles. And so the creature has 4 tentacle actions and a reach of 8. The tentacles are designed to grapple smaller prey, so they ignore 4 points of scale penalties against smaller targets. Bound and entangled prey may be bitten as usual. So reach 8 tentacles, 4 actions. You got arcane background people who are standing back, not getting into the fray. Now they have to be careful because this thing is not only huge and can slam everybody, it can also reach out and touch somebody who's trying to stay in the back. Reach 8 tentacles, very cool. So definitely something to throw at your players when they're used to things like purple worms. So those are the ones, a couple I just grabbed from the Deadlands, the Weird West. There's many other interesting ones. Some of them have a lot of flavor of the setting. It might be harder to bring over, but look at that book. There's just a ton of good stuff. So now another Deadlands setting that maybe doesn't get as much love as it should is Deadlands Lost Colony. I love it because it's got that Firefly vibe. Definitely a setting you should buy, read. It'll give you a lot of inspiration for sort of that low-tech, high-tech kind of world that you're looking for. But one of the creatures in that is called the prowler. This is a multi-legged predator that looks like a 10-foot-long millipede with a black shell. They have 2-foot mandibles protruding from a circular maw. So they're kind of cool. Now, they're kind of the standard toughness line, parry 6, toughness 11, armor of 4. So they're not going to be the thing that huge challenges. So we want to make sure that we bring them in the right way against the players. What's cool about them is they have caustic spit. The prowler can split a glob of its corrosive saliva up to 5 inches. This requires a shooting roll and does 2d8 damage. So they have a ranged weapon, which is very flavorful, very cool. The players aren't going to expect that when they first run into this creature. They also have locking mandibles. So if it gets a raise on a fighting attack, the victim is entangled and a prowler can fight normally on subsequent turns. Wow, I'm talking well, aren't I? And then they can break free just like entangled. Last thing, kind of cool. They're also a wall crawler. They can move around, but what's kind of cool is Sonic Screech. Sonic Shriek. Wow. These abominations can emit a powerful shriek in the shape of a cone template as an action, but no more than once per turn. Any character within this area of effect must make a vigor roll or be shaken. So just think about that multi-attack. Do the shriek, get them shaken, and then hit them with the caustic spit. That is a 1-2 punch that I think would be totally interesting to the players. Very cool. Another one within the Deadlands Lost Colony is, and I'm having a hard time pronouncing all these things, Rakul. They are near invisible predators that stalk the wilderness and nightmares of Anuk hunters. These are creatures of legend, ghostly creatures, but they're very real. So they're very cool in the sense that they're, again, not crazy tough. They're parry 6, toughness 10, pretty much in the normal vein. But what gives them cool is the chameleon functionality. So it allows it to mimic the surrounding terrain. So it's a +4 on stealth rolls. Once detected, its shifting appearance gives the attackers a -2 penalty attacks against it. So it's really kind of cool to kind of drive that, make it a little tougher on the players with kind of a pack of these things. Now, I think in this game, in Deadlands Lost Colony, the thought is they're probably more solo creatures, but you can bring multiple into a den, and the players are going to be like not knowing what's going on, having a hard time dealing with it. It also has one other thing called Pounce. So they add +4 to wild attacks instead of +2. So just think about these things wild attacking, while nearly invisible, adds a lot of stress to, I think, the players and what they have to deal with. Now, the last creature in Deadlands Lost Colony I want to talk about is the verocipede. These are 20 feet long, nightmarish mix of centipedes and praying mantis, and has a pair of razor-sharp horns added for style. And if it's bad enough, they can emit a beam of superheated plasma. So another great creature. These guys are a little tougher. They'll add a little more difficulty to the players as far as the standard. Their parry 7, their toughness is 17 with armor of 5. So a little tougher for the players to do something against. But these guys, they can burrow as well. They have the I-beam, which is a range 5, 10, 20, damage 3d6. 3d6 damage, great attack. Players are going to not probably recognize that when they first encounter these creatures, that's there. They're size 4, so they're large. They're also a walled walker, just like our prowler was, and they can move around. But the I-beam is the thing that kind of makes them cool. And just think of the picture, this millipede and praying mantis style creatures that the players against, a lot of interesting flavor that they probably wouldn't have seen before. and then I beam them right at the end there. So very cool. So those are a few creatures that I pulled out of the Deadlands book. Again, the beauty of Savage Worlds is you can leverage creatures from different settings, pull them in. So go through your Deadlands, the Weird West, pick some things out, go through Deadlands Lost Colony, go through your other books and find some cool stuff. And maybe I'll talk about some other creatures and some other settings that I think are cool that you should use in your fantasy campaign or really any campaign. I mean, let's be honest. Velocipede would make a great xenomorph in a sci-fi campaign, don't you think? So anyway, hey, in the comments, talk about the creatures that you leverage from different setting books in your campaign. That would be cool because I'd love to learn some interesting ones, and especially if there's some settings that I don't know about that you've been playing, I might want to get them and leverage it. So anyway, it's Carl with Tabletop Tango. Look at the bubbles, do the stuff. Again, those likes and subscribes, looking for that milestone on subscription so I can do a celebratory live stream. Yay. So anyway, talk to you later.
Savage World, one of the best games today. Savage World, Benny, enhance my play. Oh, Savage World, different.